Hey, this is Raul for Bass Musician Magazine, and I've got something really fun and interesting to talk about. This is the Spark Mini. Now, if the word spark kind of jogs your memory, and you think back, we first saw the Big Spark by Positive Grid. It's not called the Big Spark, but it's bigger than this, at the 2020 Winter NAMM show in Anaheim. They were very kind and they gave us demonstration, both using a bass, but also with a guitar. And at the time, I was thinking, okay, it's got some stuff for bass players, but it's mostly a guitar practice amp with all kinds of cool things. Fast forward to November of 2020, had a chance to chat with Rudy Sarzo, and he'd been playing with his Spark practice amp, and he's discovered a whole bunch of very fun and interesting things, and we covered that, so you're welcome to look that up. But he was very excited about all the possibilities. Now, the full-size Spark is significantly bigger. I want to say either twice as big, maybe 2.5 times bigger than this. This occupies a very much smaller footprint, takes up a lot less space, but has amazingly a ton of other features. So if you're thinking of practice amps and you're going, oh, that's just a tiny, teeny little practice amp, don't judge it by its size. There's a lot inside. Let's take a closer look. Okay, let's see what we get inside of the box. We've got the Spark Mini amplifier itself. There is a detachable carrying strap. There's the quick start guide, safety instructions, and a USB-C to A for charging. Next, when we look at the amplifier itself, it is about 5 inches wide, about 4.5 inches deep, and about 6.5 inches tall. So you can tell it has a very, very small footprint. Now, when we look at the controls on top, we start out, it has a power indicator. This will give you information if it is charging or fully charged, if it has a low battery, or if it's in the process of charging. Right next to that, there's a Bluetooth indicator to tell you if it's hooked up, it's connecting to the Bluetooth. If it's solid blue, it's connected. If it's flashing blue, it's pairing. There's a preset selector, and this will give you 4 presets that are already kind of dialed in there. They are custom, solo, lead, and rhythm. The next knob over is guitar volume, and this adjusts the overall volume of the guitar, and in this case, if you're playing bass, the bass. Music volume adjusts the sound volume of the Bluetooth device, where it's got the music coming in, or if you've used the auxiliary in, you're plugging in the USB audio playback. The guitar plug, it takes a standard 1/4 inch size instrument cable. On the back, we have a headphone line out, and then we have that auxiliary input where I'm guessing you could plug in your MP3 players or CD player, CD man if you still have one. Then there's the USB port for charging. There's a pairing button, and then there's the power button. If you look on the bottom of the unit, you'll see it has a speaker and 4 little nice spongy rubber feet on it. And then as you loop back to the front, it's got the grill that looks like any other amplifier grill you'd expect to find. Now, very importantly, there is a lot that this can do that isn't directly attached to the unit itself. And this is where you're going to be using either your iPhone, or in my case, I'm going to be using my iPad so that I can get further access into many of the features that this thing has. So one of the most important parts of the Spark Mini isn't actually inside of the Spark Mini, it is the app. So you can go to your app store, depending what kind of platform you're running off of, and you can download it. It's a free app. And right now I have the Mini turned on, so pairing is quite easy. All I have to do is hit connect, and it will search, and there we go. Now, the first thing you're going to notice is that this is in the realm of what I call the world for the guitar players. And the Mini has the 4 presets If we look at them here, you see rhythm, lead, solo, and custom. And again, these are all mostly already set up that would be great for guitar players, but not as much for us bass people. So what we do is we quite simply go across this line here, and if we scroll, we can find a couple of options here for bass. Now, just because you only see two doesn't mean there's not a lot going on. We have plenty. I will also add that there's nothing that says that a bass player can't use a setting that's been dialed in for the guitar folks. You kind of have to see what sounds great for you. And many times I've heard from bass players that they've got a pedal from a guitar player, and that's the one they really liked. And so, there is some crossover there. So it's quite straightforward. The next thing you notice is we have a sound chain with 6 pedals and an amplifier. The first of the pedals is the gate. And the way the gate works is it helps control the excessive noise in your signal. And so it cuts down on hissing and humming, and it helps to adjust the threshold and decay. So if, let's say, you don't want the gate on, what you can do is you can, you can turn it off that way. And you'll notice, I don't know if you can hear it, but right off the bat, it kind of starts hissing. Another way you can turn things on and off is by using the button, and that just took out the hiss. So that's thing number one. Next, we have the compressor / wah. And what this does, it helps even out the transient volume spikes, and it's especially good for bass. When we double tap on this and we check, we have a variety of pedals to choose from, up to 6 in that compressor wah category. So right now I have bass comp on, and we'll just leave it like that. The next pedal we're going to talk about is the drive pedal. As you can see, if I double tap, we will have 14 possible drive pedals, and what we get here is several overdrives, some distortion or fuzz, and this pedal is meant to give us a little crunch to our tone. Next, and I will add, with any of these, if we want them on or off, we can either push the little button. You can't see it in this orientation quite so much, but you can either do the swipe up or you can do the little button turn on and off. Next, we're going to touch on our amp. With the amplifier, we'll double tap on that, you will see that we have up to 39 possible choices in amplifiers. And they do have some similarities to other amplifiers that maybe you've been used to seeing. So we've got this. Important things, all of these knobs, they're not just for decoration. If you want to turn a knob, you don't try to rotate it, you just do kind of an up and down motion, and you'll see how it gives you the numbers. It tells you where it's at. So that's the amp in our chain. And certainly, of all these amps, each one of them is going to have a different sound trait. And so you can kind of play with them and see what you like best. Next, we have modulation / EQ category. And with this, we get a total of 13 possible pedals here. With this, let's say we wanted to go with our bass EQ. And when you look at it, you can see you can work the sliders just like you are working an actual EQ. And if you don't want it on the chain, you can turn it off there using kind of the button. The key thing with this is you've got a lot of really cool effects like tremolo, chorus, flanger, phaser, vibrato, univibe, and EQ. So much more there. Next, we have our delay. With the delay, you get options of digital, analog, reverse delay, tape delay, and more. And there is a total of 6 of these. Okay, on to the next one. We'll turn that off. Now we're in the reverb realm. We've got 9 possible reverb pedals here, and you're going to get different kinds of sounds. So you get kind of a studio quality, rooms, chambers, halls. You can adjust parameters. All of these will contribute. If you think of it mathematically, all of the variables that are here, you could have just a straight amp, you can have one pedal, you could have no pedals, you could have a whole collection. There is so much you can do with this. Now, other things that we can do while we're looking at this screen, the triple dots up here, let's say we found a sound that we really liked. If we tap on here, we can save it, and you can save it either to the app itself, where you turn it into one of your presets, or you can save it up to the cloud. And as I mentioned, there's only 4 presets, so those are kind of precious spots. But if you save it to the cloud, you can save unlimited variations of tones that you have figured out. Now, there is a cloud, and in the cloud, let's see here, you can see, you can have saved, there could be tones that you've saved yourself, but there's also tones that other users have come up with, and a lot of times they will characterize it by the kind of band that they think it sounds like. So we can see right here, Metallica, Dire Straits, just a wide variety. And so there's all of these possibilities that you can take advantage of, and if you like one of those, you can load those over and you can use those. So that's another really cool trait. Now, when we look at the bottom menu, this is all on this first icon. If we go to music, here we have a collection of tunes you can play along with here. You could also download from your Apple Tunes or Spotify, and it will analyze these tunes and put up chord progressions so you can follow along with those. I think in this part you really see that it is kind of made for guitar players because it's giving them what they need. But, you know, if you follow the chord progressions, you've got the root right there. You can figure out some lines to go with it. Something also pretty cool here is they've got a Jimi Hendrix, and this is an additional Experience Jimi Hendrix. This is a whole other package. It's just under $20, but it opens up more possibilities with sounds and pedals and other things. And hopefully in the future they will have maybe something more towards us bass people. Now, let's say you just want to set up a jam of your own. You don't want to play with anything else. There is such a thing as the quick jam. Basically, you are picking a drummer. And so what happens is you play guitar into this at your tempo, and the app captures that and kind of figures it out and sets up an accompanying drum and bass to go along with it. So again, great for the guitar players. I want to make up my own bass lines, so I would love to see them kind of do something where we could maybe have it invent the guitar and the drums and then have us do our bass line along with it. But it is another very cool feature that you can use. Next, we have a camera feature where you can record yourself jamming. I don't have it enabled right now, but it's just like all these others where you hit record and you're all set there. And then lastly, there's the settings that you log in and you've got all your administrative details. So there you have it. I'm going to work on getting us some sound samples and give you a little more. Okay, so I'm running this with just the amp right now. None of the pedals. Give you a little sound. Right off the bat, you can hear a little bit of the hiss. So we want to turn on our gate. And right away, it's doing what it's supposed to do. Go to the next pedal. And we've got this. We'll turn that on. So we've got a little... And let's see, drive. What choices do we have here? Let's put the bass master on this. Okay, and if we want to adjust this a little. Let's go to this. And let's see what the chorus does. Delay. Let's try that one. A lot going on there. Turn that one off. Let's see our reverb. Okay, so if we turn off all the pedals and we go back to the amp, if I switch to a different, kind of get the idea. There's lots of possibilities, and this, you're listening to this with a dynamic mic at about 4 inches from the speaker, so it is plenty loud. Okay, let's talk about the sound samples. To start off with, I used my P-Bass, which passive instrument. I didn't want to overwhelm the Spark Mini. In addition to that, I got a sample, which you can hear from the speaker. And if you think of it, it's got two 2-inch speakers. It's not terribly loud. It is a practice amp. It holds its own, so it's not as totally quiet. The full-size Spark you hear more of. So you kind of have to decide if you want to hear more of it. The larger Spark, you want to have a smaller footprint, make it more portable. The Mini may be the perfect choice. When I used the direct signal, what I did is I used a splitter so that I could hear in my headphones what was going to the camera. I think it may have been a little bit much of signal for the camera, so you might notice a little override at the beginning, but straight into the headphones, the sound is fabulous. And that's where you can really tell the differences between the pedals. The speakers don't do it quite as much justice, but with headphones, you can hear it all. It's like you're in the hall or you're using whatever you've got going on there. So key features about the Mini that you can do. It's very portable. It's a great size. You can have it kind of customized. I know it comes in pearl, kind of a whitish or black like I have. You can interchange the grill on the front if you want it to look different. Again, you can use it as a Bluetooth speaker or you can use it as your practice amp. If you have never had any experience with pedals, or not a lot, like I have not had a lot of experience, admittedly, with pedals, it's a great way to kind of experiment and kind of play around, because you have access to what would amount to probably thousands of dollars of pedals in one place. And so you don't have to go out and spend a lot. And if you go, well, gee, I think a compressor would be good, then you can take on the task of looking for a real life compressor. It's kind of too bad that you don't know what is what with these. And I know it's probably because of proprietary characteristics with products. They can't say this is a fill in the blank pedal, but it gives you an idea what the pedals do, how they sound. In addition, because this is a USB device, you can hook it up, and I understand with, I think it's PreSonus, you can record onto your computer. So the sounds that I was hearing, if I could get those onto my computer, that's like a studio input. So that's an interface, and it sounded really cool, and I could use the pedals to do that. The features that were meant for the guitar, again, us bass players can explore them, but there are a whole lot that are just admittedly better for the guitar players, but there's still so much that we can do. It's great with it's on a 3-hour charge. It'll play for 8 hours, so it's got a tremendous battery life. It is very reasonably priced. I think right now I checked, it's around $229, but I do know they run sales, so you could possibly get it for under $200. And if you think about it, there's a lot of pedals that'll cost you that much, and you don't have an amp to go with it. So if you are thinking about a practice amp and you want to expand all the possibilities, the Spark Mini would be an excellent choice. Other things, they do have an expansion. They have a pedal that you could work so you'd be a little hands-free so you can make changes. Again, I think that would be great for guitar players, maybe not so much for us bass guys. The whole Jimi Hendrix expansion package could be very interesting. I didn't have a chance to hear any of that, but if you liked Jimi Hendrix, it might be a direction you'd like to go. That is, I think, $19.99, so under $20, and you've just expanded the possibilities a whole lot more. The size, the weight, the sound, Spark Mini's got a lot going on for it. So the key thing is, as always, you'd want to try it for yourself, see if you like it. I think it would be great for a lot of people. If you want to have more information on a Spark Mini, just go to positivegrid.com. So this has been Raul, bringing you the latest in the world of bass. Today we've talked about the Spark Mini from Positive Grid.